Community, yes, organize through community organization. Community level problems are solved by a plan activity, plan intervention guided by a professional social worker. So, friends, by now, other the other three methods are still to be discussed, but through these three methods at least, before taking much of our time for explaining the background of methods of social work, I want to summarize again and bring you back to the discussion of social casework and group work. That, see, we saw, we get to understand that when attempts or intervention is made at the individual level to solve the problems of individuals in the society, it is called social casework. And when problems are dealt with or problems are solved through group planned activities within groups, okay, through group activities, then we call it group work. And when community level problems are solved or dealt with by using the different resources of the community, and community level problems are solved by using different methods and approaches at the community level to change the life of people in the community, in a particular community, that is called community organization. That is called community organization. So community organization, group work, and casework, these three methods are called primary methods of social work, because from the done of social work, from the beginning of social work, these methods were particularly used for addressing human problems different level at different levels. So how problems, uh, when we speak in social work, that we social workers are to deal with human problems, let us ask ourselves, what is problem? What is a problem? Let me put this question to my friends here. What is a problem? When certain needs are not met, unmet, when needs are unfulfilled, that may be material need, physical need, maybe emotional need, social need, psychological need, self-esteem need, reputation needs. All these are human needs. Human needs may be classified into all these kinds of needs. When these needs are not met, when these needs are not fulfilled, problem arises. Human problem arises. So, to reiterate, social work as a profession tries to primarily tries to deal with these problems, and that exactly we do in the case of casework. In the case of casework, in the beginning of the material given to you in under casework, you will find you need to understand the individual first. You have to first understand the individual and his social environment. social environment. Here in casework, for the first presumption you have to have in your mind, you have to have that understanding that every individual is a unique one. Okay, every individual is a unique one. Every individual has his own set of qualities, his own set of potentialities, his or her own set of problems. And each individual has got different factors of problem, different unmet, different unmet needs with different combinations and different proportions. So we cannot generalize one person with many. While thinking about dealing with social casework, we have to understand that every person is unique and every person is distinct with distinct qualities, distinct potentialities, distinct needs, and distinct problems. In casework, we deal each individual separately and distinctly. Sometimes, very often, problems may look problems may look very similar in comparison to other.
His network was seizing. Can anyone hear me, please? Hello, class. Can anyone hear me, please?
Yes, yes, we can hear.
Hello, friends. I'm sorry, I'm obstructed by the connectivity problem here. Okay, let's continue with our discussion. So, in that context, usually when we plan for, uh, usually we have, uh, while going to deal with problem of individuals through one-to-one relationship at the individual level, client level, or a case by case level, what we do, we understand the problem, we understand the problem. Today I am undergoing certain connectivity problem here, sorry friends. I think we must resolve this problem. So, just to give, I was trying to give you a glimpse of social casework, how we need to go about dealing with human problems through uh, human problems through one-to-one relationship through by using casework method. Uh, Friends, before going ahead, let me tell you, just to give the basic structure that we are going to have for these days classes in these days uh, under BSW-125 paper. Please have a note. We have in total four blocks here. Four blocks here. Under block one, we have five units. Block one deals with basics of social casework. Block one, you can note it, and when we come for the next class here, we can go through the material according to this, and we can have a better discussion with regard to this, and you can just have the go through the material, and we can uh, discuss in the class online that block one deals with basics of social casework, basics of social work, basics of social casework, and under block one we have five units. Unit 1, Introduction to Social Casework, Historical Development. Unit 1, Introduction to Social Casework, Historical Development. Unit 2, Basics of Social Casework, where we will be dealing with some basic understanding, basic principles, basic concept of social casework. Then Unit 3, Practice of Social Casework, where we will be dealing with different practices associated with social casework method and different stages, how we go about intervening under the methods of social casework. Then unit 4, interviewing with interviewing in social casework. Interview is another important component of social casework. Under unit 4, we will be discussing how interviews are conducted using different tools and techniques in social casework to deal with individual problems. Then unit 5, home visit and recording in social casework. Home visit and recording in social casework. Then we have block 2. Under block 2, the basic course is selected settings in social casework. Block 2 deals with selected settings in social casework, under which unit 1 deals with components of social casework. Unit 1 deals with components of social casework. Unit 2 deals with fields of social casework practice. Fields of social casework practice. Then Unit 3 deals with social casework in educational setting. Social casework in educational settings. Then Unit 4, social casework in industrial settings. Social casework in industrial settings. Then block 3. Block 3 deals with social work with group. Under this course, 125, we have block 3 after block 2 and block 1 and 2. We have block 3 that deals with social work with group. Under social work with group, we have unit 1, concept of group, that deals with concept of different concepts of group. Then unit 2, characteristics and significance of groups. Characteristics and significance of groups. Then unit 3, group formation and stages of development of groups. Unit 3 deals with group formation, stages of development of groups. Then unit 4, leadership in group. Leadership in group. Then block 4. Block 4 deals with introduction to social group work. Introduction to social group work, under which we are to deal with unit we are to discuss we are to cover unit 1, that deals with social group work, historical development. Social group work, historical development. Then unit 2, principles, skills and models of group work process. Principles, skills and models of group work process. Then unit 3 deals with the social worker's role in group work process. The social worker's role in group work process. So these are the things that we are to discuss over these 6 days of classes in this platform. Why I let you know these pieces of information to all of you, that you will have a note of it and go through the materials according to the sequence, and we all, let us come with some preparation, some homework, so that we can clear our doubts in this platform, and we can have a better and more effective discussion in the class. Please take a note of this informations that I gave, that introduced to you, that I introduced to you here, and go through the materials according to them, and we can have better discussion in the classes to follow during the next 5 days, excluding today. So friends, to continue with the discussion about social casework that we were discussing, the first one we were discussing was uh, the basics of social casework, where we looked at the basic concept of social casework, or some kind of introductory information to social casework. Here, first thing we have to understand is the individual himself. The individual in himself, the nature of individual, where we get to understand that every individual is unique, and every individual has his own set of potentialities, and every individual has his own set of problems and problematic factors, problem factors of problem. We need to understand the problems and their factors while dealing with human problems, because unless we understand the factors and the root of the problem, we cannot deal with them. And in order to understand the nature of problem of an individual, we have to understand an individual, that he has a unique characteristic, he has unique personality. In the individual, he has some deficiencies, some problems which led to severe kind of problems, where he had deficiencies in living a desirable condition of life. That we have to understand at the first point of thinking about social casework, or dealing with the problems of individuals at the individual level. So the other most important thing we have to bring into our understanding, that is social environment of an individual. Every individual has a society, has a system of community, family, who lives in a particular kind of community setting, and neighborhood, and family, and dear and near ones, where we have the assumption that he had some problems, some uh, with in interaction with his immediate environment, which has led to problem. We have to understand that he has some problem with the environment that might have led to his personal problems here. Then the third most important component we must understand while dealing with individual problem is his needs. As it is given in your material, Abraham Maslow's need theory, according to Abraham Maslow's need theory, who was a philosopher, his need theory, human needs have been classified as I was just giving you a glance into different kinds of need: the physiological needs, safety needs, need for social needs or need for belongingness and love, esteem needs, or need of dignity in the dignified life, need of dignified life, then need for uh, self growth, self identification, self proclamation. That is again deals with this one human personality. So these are the different kinds of need. As I was in the beginning trying to hint to you, when these needs, all these needs, or any one of them are not met, unmet, or not fulfilled, problems of an individual or individuals together are aggravated. And when these problems are aggravated, they obstruct in a normal living condition of any human being. They lead to deficient human living. They lead to human suffering. That's why social work seeks, or social work uh, intervenes to solve the problems. So while dealing with individual problems, we need to understand these many basic components. These many basic components. Uh, just to recapitulate, what are the different kinds of problems a normal individual can is vulnerable to encounter in a normal living condition? What are the different kinds of problems? What are the different kinds of needs that may remain unmet, leading to different problems? First thing, that may be physiological need, physical need, like food, shelter, clothes. These are physiological needs. Then the other need, as we can look at Abraham Maslow to refer, that is safety need. Then the other one can be what? Friends, am I audible to all?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, you
Yes.
are.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, you
Thank
are
you're
you.
audible.
audible.
Thank you. The other one is self-esteem need. The other one may be social need, that includes love, affection, attention from the family members, friends, neighbors. That is social need. That is social need. Safety need, that basically deals with protection against hazards, insecurity, disease, or many other attacks in the society or accidents. That is safety need. Then the other one can be um, need of dignity. dignity. You can go through the material given to you. You can get to understand that these are the basic kinds of need. When they are not met, when they are not fulfilled in the normal living situation in the social environment, that lead to different kinds of problems. Emotional, that may be physical physiological problem, that may be safety problem, that may be psychological problem, that may be social problem. Okay, problems may be even from the other perspective. Problems can be economic problem, problems can be cultural problem, problems can be social problems, problem can be biological or physical problems, problems can be material problem. So when these all these problems are unmet due to some impaired relationship of the person with his immediate environment, with his immediate environment, due to these different factors that lead to problem. That is capitulation of the discussion we had earlier in this class. As I was already hinting to you, speaking to you about uh, getting into or going about dealing with social casework, we must have some basic assumptions in our mind, precondition in our mind while dealing with a person with problem, while starting with intervention of social casework. We must bear in our mind some thinking, some presumptions that individual and society are interdependent. There is a very close connection between individual and the society. As Aristotle said, you must be reminded of Aristotle, who said a very famous saying: a man who is out of the society may be either a beast or a god or a beast. So, in this point, he is trying to tell that a human being cannot live without society. Society is must for human living, and man is a social animal. So there is a very intimate relationship between, inseparable, indispensable relationship between individual and society, and they are interdependent. Then various factors that is occurring in the society really influence shape and influence human behavior and human character. There are many factors in the society that actually influence or shape human behavior and human personality. And in social casework, in the process of social casework, what social work tries to do is, social work tries to repair the broken relationship between a person with problem and his and his immediate environment. Because a person cannot be in problem unless his his relationship with the immediate environment is impaired or broken. When the immediate connection between an individual and his environment, intrapersonal or interpersonal is disturbed. Unless this relationship is disturbed, an individual cannot be in problem. Usually, an individual cannot be in problem unless this relationship assists the individual to live a renewed and better condition of life, to have a normal living condition in life. That assumptions, that understanding we must have before addressing any problem at the individual level by using so with these assumptions we can get to understand how social work began as a part of, as a method of social work, how social casework was adopted as a method of social work, professional social work. Friends, you must have gone through the material and you must have understood, you must have discussed about already know historical development, historical development of in the Western countries and Eastern countries. Yes, Eastern countries, and you know how social work began in different parts of the world. Different parts of the world. Uh, Social casework first was started in the Western countries, particularly Europe and America, and charity organization society was one of the, you will go through different very micro level organization that operated to give emergence to social casework as a method, but charity organizations society was one of the premier organizations which gave better status to the practice of social casework. Mary Richmond, who was a teacher, who was the first teacher, admirably, she promoted social casework as a method of social work. She wrote the social diagnosis in the year 1917 when she was teaching or training budding social workers in the University of Pennsylvania. Then it was Institute of New York. In the year 1917, she wrote social diagnosis, and in the year 1922, she wrote social casework, and she tried to train and inculcate the friendly visitors who were to visit the impoverished families and individuals who were suffering from different problems with the effect, as you know, with the effect of industrialization and the impact of this one uh, industrial settings and different displacement problems at different places. So see these people uh, friendly visitors were assigned to visit different persons in different families and try to understand their problems and needs, unmet needs, and they tried to assess their needs and provided required or desirable assistance for normal living condition under that situation. So charity organization society around 1898 started operating through friendly visitors, and around 20 late 20s social casework was recognized as a professional method of social work. Different problems like First World War and French Revolution and many other significant events that you can go through in detail and get to understand different landmark events in the history which created problems. Many families, many people were impoverished, disabled, and many problems crept in. The problem was visible at the communities, at the individual level, at the family level. In order to address these problems, some people came forward to innovate different methods. Among them was casework, social casework, and these, as it was practiced in different Western countries, it was also it also percolated to different developing countries and poor countries who also adopted these methods, including India and other countries, African countries and Eastern countries also adopted these method to deal with problems at the individual level. I think we can better go through the material which have detailed information in them. You have much in store in the material. I advise you to go through those materials and have better and more detailed information with regard to this. So students, rest of the things, uh, the theoretical discussions we will have in the next class. Before going further, taking forward this class, I would like to have some interaction from the students. If anyone has any queries or understanding, since it is a counseling class, anyone has any questions to ask regard to social work, social casework as a method, any clarification?
Yes, yes. Can I ask a question?
You can take.
Hello? Yes, at the beginning of the class, you said
You can go ahead.
there are 6 methods of social work, right?
Yes.
I only get casework. Yes, I
Yes.
only get casework, group work, and community organization. But the last 3, I didn't get anything.
Oh, yes. See, casework, group work, and community organization. These are the three methods, of social work. Methods means, as I said, ways of doing something, systematic way of doing something, or a selected or adapted way of doing something. So to do social work, these three primary methods were used. Three methods: casework, group work, and community organization. These three methods primarily used, and I also said you that there are other three methods. Other three methods, those are welfare administration, social welfare administration, social action, and social research. Those are also methods of social work. But I just hinted you these three methods: social casework, group work, and community organization, to understand casework in comparison to the other primary methods. Okay, casework. Casework is a method of social work that deals with individual problems, individual problems through one-to-one relationship, through one-to-one relationship. Most of the social work interventions are undertaken by using the methods and techniques of relationship. Okay, methods and techniques of relationship. So here, what kind of relationship is used to deal with human problems? One-to-one relationship, case-to-case relationship. Okay, so here under social casework, a single professional social worker interacts and have interaction with a single person, single person who is in problem. A person in problem comes to professional social worker to deal with his problems, to get help from the social worker. And social worker, through different interactions, different guided interaction, professional interactions, he tries to solve the problem of individual. Okay, through their interaction, through different advices, first he tries to understand the problem by getting the history of the individual, by understanding the different factors of the problems, by understanding the background of the person in problem. He tries to understand the problem, then he plans with the active participation of the person in problem who has come to the social worker. You are social worker, and a person when in problem comes to you to ask for support for solving his problems. You are trying to understand him, and you are trying to find best solution with active participation of the person himself. Okay, that way, that way, through one-to-one relationship, you are trying to solve the problem of the person in problem who comes to you. Okay, if the problem is not solved by your own effort through one-to-one relationship, you can refer the person in problem to have a better resource. Okay, you can refer him, because as a social worker, you know what are the needs of that individual, what are the nature of problem of what is the nature of the problem of that individual, and you can better guide. As a social worker, you can better guide him to reach to an agency which can provide him a better solution of him or her, with a better solution. So that is social casework. Are you getting something? Hello? Hello?
We are with you, sir. We are with you, sir.
Yes, Anas?
Sir, I want to ask a question.
Is it making some sense?
Yes, I'm saying that I have a question, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
as a social
Gracian?
worker,
Huh.
assuming as a social worker, somebody
Yes.
come to me and asks
Yes.
me he needs a help from me.
Yes.
He told me that he's a drug addict and he need me to help him on how to stop taking drugs.
Ah,
How should I do, sir?
Malam Musa
Since
Mat.
I'm not a professional social
Eh?
worker by now.
Yes.
Ah,
See,
gaskiya ya kamata ya
is
zama
it
daidai.
Gracian?
Daidai. Ba daidai sai.
Shu'aibu, ɗan kashe mai ɗinka da Allah.
Wallahi. Dan
Yes.
fesawa.
Yes. 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 The
Shu'aibu,
person.
off your mic,
Wallahi
please.
tallahi ya kamata in siya wa
Yes.
'yata.
Yes. Yes. Uh,
A
dear
dama mana
friends,
ai
others,
wallahi
those who
kaina
are
ya
not
kamata in siya wa
speaking,
'yata.
friends, those who are not
Yanzu yanzu
speaking,
kamar
please
wannan
put off your
ya yi kyau da
mics.
mace.
Friends, this is my request. Those who
Wannan
are
na
not
shafawa ne ko?
speaking, after speaking,
Ai wannan ɗin
please
shi ne
put
ai.
off your
Shi nawa
mics.
kenan wannan?
Yes. Voices in the
Shu'aibu,
background. There are noise. Yes, there is a noise in the background. Please put up your mics. Then, yes, with regard to the question, yes, uh, the person who comes to me is a drug addict. Okay, drug addict, as put forth a question by one of the students here. Drug addict, as a social worker, comes to me for help, and as a social worker, how could I help him? At this point of time, you are novice, you are just a student. Yes, you are a student. You may not be able to find real professional service to him, but as a professional social worker, when you have all information, all knowledge about dealing with human problems through different approaches and different methods and different techniques and different resources, when you are well acquainted with social casework method, definitely you have a way to deal with the problem of a drug addict. What happens? First of all, you will try to understand why an individual has gone into the addiction of drug, why he has initially got into the practice of taking drug. You will first try to understand what is the situation, whether he has nobody in the family to control his behavior, or whether he is under some mental pressure, whether he is unemployed, he has no work to do, and he has to spend his time uh, uh, in addiction. What actually made him to get into the practice of addiction? You try to understand first, and when he comes, once the person wants help from you to get rid of addiction, that means he wants to get rid of the problem because he is conscious that he is not in a better condition. His life can be better. His life can get better. So in that case, he is interested to find solution. So he will. What you have to do is, you have to, through your different interactive behavior, some therapeutic behavior. First thing you have to do is, you have to build rapport with him. First thing, you have to build a rapport with him, and you have to create the belief in him that you can find a better solution for him. And that faith has to be built in the mind and heart of that person in problem. He has to trust that, he has to think that, believe that you are the person under the sky who can help him out of his problem. So this belief itself is a part of solution to the problem. Then you will chalk out a well thought plan, because see, for drug addiction there are many factors, as I was telling to you, whether that person has any kind of frustration due to unemployment, either that person has some family disturbances why he deep himself into drug addiction, or whether he has some neuro physical disorder that led him to do that, whether he has some genetic problems. So you have to identify the problem, real problems. Then if needed you can get him to a doctor, physician. You can take him to a physician, you can take him to a psychologist, you can take him to a neurologist. So because you know all all these people, you can integrate the services, interconnect the services for that person. And sometimes what social worker has to do, sometimes even prevention also is done for some of the people in drug addicts and criminals. Sometimes you have to use force for the interest of that persons. In some cases that also has to be done. So you will, according to the in-depth understanding of the problem of a drug addict, you will plan according to the availability of resources, according to the nature of problem. Though it looks there are hundreds of drug addicts, but every addict has a different factor, some set of different factors, and he is supported by different environment. Okay, so you have to address all these problems, and you have to first identify these problems, then only you can have a better plan for that particular individual who comes to you for help. Am I making some sense, friend?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Any other student?
It's fine, sir. You can go ahead.
Yes. Friends, in order to have some understanding, better understanding of all these with detailed informations, I request you, each one of you, to go through the materials provided to you, so that you can have some understanding from your personal study. Then we can also have a better. Yes. Yes, that's fine. We all are facing some network issues, friend. Don't worry. We will manage that. And I request you all to go through the material and have some, at least some idea, so that you will get to understand when we discuss. That's why I gave some detailed information, some brief information about what we are going to deal with in this class over the next 5 years, 5 days. So, friends, again, I suggest you, I request you to go through the material so that you have some understanding, and when we discuss here, you can participate. We can have some good questions, and we can understand things better way. That will make a better discussion of the topics we are given with. Friends, to continue, go ahead with, and to begin with the uh, unit 2, basics of social casework. Basics of social casework. We can have some discussion on basics of social casework. Then uh, we can have.
Excuse me, sir. Please, can you share us your screen so that we can follow you without any problems?
Yes, continue. Please repeat.
Yeah.
Please repeat.
Can you please share us your screen PPT so that we can follow you?
Yes, friend. I really prepared the PPT, but because of some technical error, I could not put up to you. Okay, put up to you. I think I will resolve this problem by this day. Then tomorrow onwards, without fail, I will bring it to the screen. Okay. I have some problem in my system. That's why I was not able to. I was trying to do it, but I could not do it today. I think I will resolve this problem by tomorrow, and tomorrow I will bring it up to you. Okay, Candero.
Yeah. Yeah, sharp. It's okay, sir.
Ah. So I will put the material up to you in brief and in the screen tomorrow. Okay. So today I have some technical problems. That's why I could not do. I'm sorry for that. See, we can just briefly look at uh, some basic things of social casework, like principles of social casework. Uh, Miss Virginia Robinson, in her book A Changing Psychology in Social Casework, she wrote Changing Psychology in Social Casework in 1939. Virginia Robinson. She wrote A Changing Psychology in Social Casework in 1939. 39. She stated that social casework relationship between the social caseworker and the person with problem, who is known as client. In law, we called a person who comes to the lawyer with a legal problem, we call client. Similarly, in professional social work also, when a person with problem comes to a professional social worker, he is called client. The other party of social casework with professional caseworker is client. Client and during the process of social casework, they have their attitude, emotions, and all psychological components, their personality traits, all are very much associated and come into play while having a guided professional interaction between social worker and the client or the person with problem. I repeatedly say person with problem because uh, when I say client, as beginners, you may not be you are not habituated to get this point very easily. That's why I try to remind you that the client is a person with problem who comes to social caseworker for seeking help. Okay, seeking help. That's why very often instead of saying client simply, I say person with problem. Okay, so social caseworker and the problem, according to Virginia Robinson, they have a very dynamic, very changing, frequently changing relationship associated with their attitude, emotion, and personality trait, different personality traits. Different personality traits. Uh, this actually leads to solution of the problem under social casework. Here, under this dynamic interaction or dynamic process of interaction, here the professional social worker or the caseworker tries to understand. As I said again, I reiterate, the professional social caseworker tries to understand the problem, understand the person with problem or client first, along with his or her social background, his immediate environment, okay, workplace problems, neighborhood problems, material unmet needs. Problem means unmet needs, unmet unmet needs or unfulfilled needs that led to problem. Okay, so he tries to understand all these things in particular reference to the person's problem that he's undergoing. Suppose one is impoverished. Why one has been impoverished? Why he is poor? Why? Suppose he is unemployed. Why he is unemployed? What are the problems? Suppose one is drug addict. Why he is drug addicts? What are the factors made him to become drug addict? Suppose a criminal. Why he? What is his social background? Why he get into the world of criminals? Okay. We have to first understand what made him, what helped him, what are the things continue to help him in the being in the problem. We have to understand first the problem. Then under which environment the person gets to do all these things. A person's immediate environment also is very important. Which support, which environment, which kind of environment, which kind of components in his immediate environment supports him or doesn't prevent him in doing mistakes. So that we have to understand. First, we have to understand. Then we have to this one understand the real locus of the problem. Real location of the problem. What is the real problem? Then we have to plan intervention. How to deal with this problem? What can be if you have seen a problem tree analysis, you will get to understand that if you want to solve a problem, you have to attack the factors of the problem one by one. You have to attack the factors of the problem. While dealing with individual problems or group problems or community problem or problem of a nation, you have to deal with the factors. You have to reduce the factors of problem. Similarly, at the individual level, while dealing with the problem of an individual, you have to take on the different factors leading to problems of an individual. Then only you can deal with a problem. So, in order to undertake all these activities, you have to take some set of principles. You have to have some principles. Keep in mind some principles. They will really guide you while solving the problem at the individual level. So, Virginia Robinson has given a set of principle while having a dynamic interaction between caseworker and this one client. And a client, she has given a set of principles, around 13 or 14 principles. Number one is principle of individualization. Principle of individualization. As I, from the very beginning, I have stressed that if you want to deal with individual problem, you have to understand that that individual as a very individual person. You cannot compare that individual with other person. You cannot compare a criminal with a particular situation with another criminal in a different situation. You cannot just compare. Both are criminals, but they have different backgrounds. They have different factors. They have different personality traits, and they have different family background. That might have uh, forced them to become criminal. No two identical individuals have similar, or no two individuals have similar cause to become criminal. Each one of the criminals have different backgrounds, different causes, different factors to make them criminals. So that way you have to individualize a person with problem. Okay, you have to understand them as distinct personality. You cannot put them in a common parallels. Okay, you cannot generalize their traits. So you have to understand every individual. You have to take every individual as a unique person having distinct personality traits, distinct problem, different distinct factors of problem, a different environment. Then only you can have a distinct plan to deal with the specific problem of that individual. Then second principle given by Robinson is principle of meaningful relationship. See, we have relationship with our brothers and sisters. We have relationship with our friends. We have relationship with our teacher. We have relationship with our wives and husbands. But this relationship is uh, uh, very this relationship is a professional relationship with professional objectives. Professional objective which bear their optimum meaning, optimum this one value when we use them in a very controlled way. This relationship is not like a very simple one that we have with our brother or sister. It is a very composed one. It is a very controlled one. It is a professional relationship that you you must not forget. You must not forget. You never forget that it is a very controlled and professional relationship, and it has got its own meaning, and it is very dynamic one with uh, backup knowledge, professional knowledge and technique, and very specific objectives and purposes of interaction. Okay. Then number three is principle of acceptance. While doing social casework, when you do social casework intervention, practice social casework with a particular client or a person with problem, the person has to accept you. The person has to accept you. You have to, he has to accept you, and you have to accept. It is most important as a professional caseworker. You can accept easily, but at times at times the person with problem may not accept you readily. It is very difficult. It may be in that particular situation of an individual, it may be very difficult for him or her to accept you easily. There are certain conditions where people don't want to go to doctor, people don't want to meet people, people don't want to talk to others. So you have to very consciously create an environment where the individual accepts you, where the individual accepts you. It is very important that the person in problem accepts you. There is acceptance. This is principle of acceptance, and you have to accept him, his weaknesses, his problems, and you have to take responsibility that he is his problems are at your hand to deal with. You are the person who will find solution for his or her problem. So you have to accept the personality, his difficulties, his personality disorder and problems, his bad behavior, his good behavior, everything you have to accept. So the person also must accept you as a problem finder, as a solution maker, as a life changer. Okay. So he has to also accept. This is all your responsibility to make such a environment, such an environment where person agrees to accept you, whatever you say. When you have a bond, emotional bond with him, when you have a good rapport with the person in problem, when you are able to create the belief in the client that you can deal with his problem, then only he accepts you. You need not be judgmental. Oh, you have done such nasty things. You did such dirty things. That was not good. You cannot give this judgmental statements. Once you start giving this kind of behavior or reflection, he tries to avoid you. He or she tries to avoid you. So you have to be, whatever the problem he has done, whatever the weaknesses he or she has, you have to accept of your own. Very normally, very affectionately, you have to accept. That is principle of acceptance. Then number 4, principle of communication. See, communication only makes interaction living interaction. Without communication, there cannot be social interaction, and without interaction, there cannot be social intervention. So you must have communication, and that should not be one-sided communication. Communication from both sides, and that is two-way process. Communication is a two-way process here in casework. So the person in problem or the client speaks everything, tit and bit of his problem, factors, social background, everything. And whatever he communicates, and mind you, students, when you ask questions and try to collect information from the this one client in your process of communication, it is likely that the person in problem can hide some of the information. He or she can misguide you. So you have to have a very conscious communication. Very conscious communication. You have to understand from the gestural communication, gesture and posture, facial expression. Okay, all these things you have to, all these traits you have to acquire so that you can understand the person's feelings, and you can understand what one wants to say, or what one does, tries to hide while communication. And you, as a social caseworker, you must give chance, opportunity to the person in problem or the client to adequate opportunity to express himself or herself. You have to create that environment where the client feels free to communicate everything, optimum things to you. Unless you, unless the this one client communicates, you cannot get to understand his problems, his or her problems. So this is principle of communication. Then principle of expression of feelings. Principle of expression of feelings. This is again very close to the principle of communication, but see, communication can be in any form, like in your eyes, in your body gesture, in your facial expression, anything that be communicated through different modes. But principle of expression of feeling, sometimes what happens, we feel something and we express something. When desperately we are trying to hide something, generally the expressions are expression of feelings are reverted. So here again, you have to be non-judgmental. You have to be non-judgmental. You have to be very friendly. You have to be very amicable, very loving, very accepting, so that the this client gets an opportunity, ample opportunity to express everything, express his real feeling, express his or her real feeling. So it is up to the client, it is up to the caseworker who creates an environment while interacting where the client feels very free, feels free to express whatever he feels clearly. Then another principle, that is principle of controlled emotional involvement. Controlled emotional involvement. There is an observation, very small observation. Don't take it otherwise. Sometimes caseworker fell in love with the client. That is an emotional kind of thing. As a professional, you need to control your emotional involvement. Sometimes caseworkers are found to be crying with the problem of the client. No, you cannot cry. If you cry, if you weep, if you really shed your tears listening to the problems of client, you are obsessed with emotion. So you may not be able to find a rationalized solution of problem, because uh, we cannot be we lose to be rational when we are very much emotional. So emotionally controlled involvement, okay, controlled emotional involvement is required in casework practice. So you must be very much aware about your emotion while dealing with a client, because you have to listen to many things which may uh, sweep you in emotion. Okay. Then, as I have already hinted you, the principle of non-judgmental attitude. The principle of non-judgmental attitude, it is again very important. Once you become judgmental, once you started commenting on the morality or good or bad of the client, you are closing the door for communication. The client ceases to communicate to you once you become judgmental. The client starts to avoid you. So you have to be non-judgmental. You cannot be judgmental while dealing with the problems of the um client. Then, principle of client self-determination. Client's self-determination. See, very often clients don't try to exercise adequately. Don't try to have adequate exercise on your brain and think deeply to find a solution. And usually, at times, the caseworker makes a decision for the client. No, the caseworker will help. The caseworker will help the client to make his own decision, better decision for his life, for the betterment of his life. Not that caseworker will make decision for the client or person with problem, but caseworker will stimulate the situation, condition, stimulate the client to make better decision for him or her, himself or herself. So never take decision by yourself for the betterment of the client. You make the client to make his own decision in a particular point of problem. Okay. Then, principle of self-awareness. See, when we are emotionally overswept or swept over, uh, we get to forget our own position or own strength. That's why the caseworker has to be always in the light of his strength. He has to understand his weakness and strength, not to be swept over by the emotions or the situations of the client. If some problems are beyond the reach of the caseworker, then he can refer to, okay, he can refer the client to a potential agency that could solve the problem. It is nowhere to show own power, on ability or capacity before the client that I could solve all the problem. No, we have to be very, very much cautious on the strength and limitations of ourselves, and the problems which are not at our reach should be referred to uh, another person or another agency that can deal with the problem. Then next one is principle of social functioning. Social functioning. See, yes. Yeah, one of the students asked me what are the steps of case management. Dear students, I will of course deal with these days in the probably in the classes to come. I will deal with these steps in case management. We are certainly going to deal with this. Okay, just uh, we are going through the process. First, you understand what casework is. Then we can go to the process or practice of social casework. Then we can better understand about the process or steps of management of case. Okay. So, principle of social functioning uh, tells us that uh, casework has to aware the client to have recognized his role and function in the social environment. Very often, problem emerges, problem arises. So, particularly social nature of social, problem of social nature. Social problems usually arise due to the dysfunctional this one relationship of an individual, role conflict of an individual. When an individual as a father, mother, or a son, or a daughter, or a brother or a sister, when we have different roles in the family, different role in the family, as a husband, very role of a husband or a role of a wife also has very significant association with the problem of an individual. As a wife, what role I must play in the functioning of the family? As a husband, what role I have to play in the family? If I have some problems in my function, role and function in the family, definitely there is this one problem in the family. So as caseworker, we have to identify those problems in role and function of the individual in his social environment, and as social worker we must also aware him how effectively that role and function can be undertaken in the family, maintained in the family, so that some of the problems can be dealt with effectively. So this is how uh, principles of social casework have been portrayed by Bhajaniyar Rabinchand with the help of others. We have discussed this one 10 principles of social casework. We will continue in the next class. Bye bye, students. It's time. We will meet you tomorrow. We will meet tomorrow. See you tomorrow in a better condition.
Okay,